I want to start with a statement that says, how we see ourselves, circumstances, opportunities has a major impact on what we say and do. I want us to say that again. How we see ourselves, circumstances, and opportunities has a major impact on what we say and what we do. Some of you in the corporate space and the coaching space will remember this story back in the late 70s, 80s, etc., that a North American company sent out 2 salespeople to the Congo to check if there were any prospects for shoes. 2 salesmen went out. After some time there, one salesman sends a telegraph back. That's before text, by the way, before fax. Sends a telegram back and says, I'm coming home. These people in the Congo don't wear shoes. So pointless prospects. Second salesman sent a telegram home and said, please send me all the shoes you can in every size. These people in the Congo don't wear shoes. Who's right? Who's wrong? Question. That's a question for you. Who's right? They're both right? They're both right, absolutely. Both of them are right, but the difference between the 2 salesmen is what? Say it again for me. Perspective. Perspective. So the perspective of salesman 1 was, his interpretation of the situation was that because nobody wears shoes, it's impossible to sell shoes. It's a waste of time. That was his perception. And he was correct, no? However, the perception of the second salesman, his interpretation of the same situation was that send me all the shoes. Because nobody wears shoes, so we can sell as many shoes as we can. It's just a matter of perspective or perception? Perspective or perception? Are the 2 interchangeable? Does your perceptions feed your perspective? So what comes first, perception or perspective? Perception. All right. So it just depends on how you what? See the situation, yes? The problem is not our situation, but our perception of the situation. Yes? Problem isn't the situation, it's just our perception of the situation. Numbers chapter 13 really helps us understand this. And I'm not going to read the whole lot. Just from verse 30, it said, then Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and take possession, for we are well able to overcome it. But the men who had gone up with him said, we are not able to go up against the people. Caleb said, we are. They said, we're not. Who's right? Listen to their perspective. They said, for the people, they are stronger than we. So here comes the excuses. And they gave the children of Israel a bad report of the land which they had spied out, saying, the land through which we have gone has spies, is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people whom we saw in it are men of great stature. Just a side note, anything you're going to go after in life, giants are going to be there. Because giants aren't stupid. They know when there's a good thing happening. There we saw the giants, the descendants of Anak came from the giants, and we were like, what were they like? Another word for grasshoppers is locusts. They were like grasshoppers in whose sight? Perception. And so we were in perspective. So, everything has beauty. You have beauty. I have beauty. The world has beauty. But not everyone sees it. Not everyone sees it. The dictionary definition of perception is a belief or an opinion held by people based on how things seem. That's the dictionary definition. In philosophy, it says it's a complex relationship between the mind, the sensory organs, and the external world. In psychology, it says the process whereby sensory stimulation is translated into organized experience. I hope you're catching this, what's happening. Biblically speaking, I love this definition. It says it's the ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through the senses as spiritual insight and discernment granted by God. Anybody in this house got spiritual insight? Anybody want more spiritual insight? Anybody want more discernment? Facts matter not at all. Perception is everything. I'll say that again. Facts matter not at all. Perception is everything. God taking his children from Egypt into the promised land did so many miracles. Facts. So many miracles. I just want to show you a few. In Exodus 14:21 to 28, he parts the Red Sea. Now I've been alive quite a while. I've not seen anybody part seas. Shows God's deliverance and his protection. In Exodus 16:4, he gives them manna and quail. God sustaining his people in barren conditions. Miracle number 2. There's many of them. I've just listed a few. In Exodus 17, water from a rock. How many people have ever got water from a rock? God's supernatural ability, think about this, to get water from a rock. Then in Exodus 13, a pillar of cloud and fire. God's faithfulness in divine guidance. The question is, for me, this is my question when I read this. What more did they need to see? That's my question. Please forgive me, but that's my question. What more? Because these are just 4. There were many more. What more did they need to see to be convinced of God's ability to give them and get them into the promised land? Anybody got an answer? It seems like God is always proving himself to us. He has to prove himself. He does one miracle, and if you do this one, Lord, I'll trust you forever. He does it, and then all of a sudden now it's the next one. But if you do this one, how many times does he have to prove himself? If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to a man as it is infinite. I want to say that again. If the doors of my perception were cleansed, everything would appear to me as if it was infinite. There's a story about a couple who bought a new house, and they moved into this new house. They're sitting in their conservatory, and the neighbor comes out to put her washing on the line. The wife says to the husband, as nobody taught this woman she needs to clean her clothes first before she puts them on the line. Her husband says, darling, we've just moved in. Let's not be judgmental. I'm sure she'll get it. This happens for days upon days upon days. Finally, one day, they're sitting down at tea again. The wife looks out the window and says, eventually, she has cleaned her clothes. The husband turns to her and says, sorry, darling, I got up this morning and cleaned our windows. The perception of the clothes was dirty, but actually it was the window that was dirty. God sent these people on a scouting mission. Now, it's important to understand this was not a God idea. This wasn't God coming up with this and wanting to do this. This was God acquiescing to the whining and the complaining of the people to Moses. So he said, okay, you don't believe the land is full of milk and honey. Let's send some spies there then. So as per the people's request, read this in Deuteronomy 1, God told Moses to send out spies to scout out the land, the promised land. I want you to understand this. Imagine that you've been in bondage, you've been in chains, you've been imprisoned. You prayed, God delivered you. He's shown you miraculous signs to get you from the prison now to a place where he's transitioning you towards a promised land. And you don't believe what God says. Not very difficult. Moses assigns 12 leaders of the tribes from each tribe to represent them in scouting out this land. So he gives them an assignment. Here's the assignment. Go to the South Mountains and see what, number one, the place is like. Number two, see what the people are like. A little bit of market research. Okay? See if the land is powerful. See if the population is large. See if it's a pleasant place. See if it's protected. See if it's prosperous. And see if the produce is good there. That's their scouting mission. Okay, everybody clear on what the scouting mission is? All right. So they go into the land, and it is paradise. It's flowing with milk and honey. Everything God said it would be, it was. Exodus 3, verse 17. When it talks about a land that's paradise or a land that's flowing with milk and honey, it talks about fertility. It's good for agriculture, it's good for raising cattle, etc. That's what he was talking about. It's flowing. The ground is good. Remember some time back we talked about ground. Doesn't matter what you plant, if the ground's bad, it's not going to grow. Just a side note, check out what grounds you're planted in. The people there are strong. They're giants, Anak. They were tall and numerous. This is how you know that a place is good, when people are taller than everybody else. Giants don't like bad land. The produce, the cluster of grapes which they cut down, it took 2 men on a stick to carry it. Don't know about you, Waitrose, Aldi, sorry. Got to do Aldi. Have you ever seen any grapes where 2 of you have had to carry them? This is what God promised them. So after 6 weeks, 40 days, they return home with evidence of the promised land. So now let's have a look at their scouting report. Remember what their scouting report is. Let's have a look at the produce. They showed Moses the produce and the people the evidence that the land is truly fruitful. Facts number 1. So God said it was. They've gone and spied it out for themselves. They didn't listen to God in the first place. They've sent the spies. Now they're seeing what God said is exactly correct. Fact number 1. 1-0 to God. Let's look at the place. They told Moses that the people and the land is flowing with milk and honey and is truly fruitful. 2-0 to God, right? This is what he said. I know you're looking at me strange, but it's probably because you're thinking, well, how many times has God told me something's right? I didn't listen, and then I'm on my own. Okay. I'm on my own. He says the people, however, the people are strong. Excuses. Here comes the excuses. The people are strong. Cities are fortified and very large. Plus, Anak, the giants, are there. Again, question for you. In a great land like this, who do you expect to be there? Okay, let me bring it home. In your company, if your company is really, really good, don't you expect top people to be working there? So why are you surprised when they're there? In your sector, in your field, do you not expect top people to be there? So why do we get surprised? Okay. The spies, 10 spies brought back a distorted picture and infected the whole nation. Their perception, how they saw things, they came back and they started speaking negative stuff to the people. Okay? They were so negative, you put them in a dark room, they develop. That's how negative they were. When perception distorts the picture of opportunity, I want you to hear this. When perception distorts the picture of opportunity, true potential is left unfulfilled. Perception. 10 spies' perception. Let's have a look at their perception. Number one, their beliefs. Did they believe God? Can we have a consensus? Did they believe God or did they not? They didn't believe God, right? They did not believe God was able to bring them into the promised land. That's their belief system. That's where their perception comes from. Secondly, what affects perception is circumstances. They have come out of slavery in Egypt, where all their needs were met. I got to be honest, I don't get these people. I really just don't get these people. All their needs are met, but they are in the wilderness where they have to now depend on God. Bearing in mind, it was them who prayed to come out of Egypt. Remember the story? They cried out to God. They prayed, God, get us out. So now he's done it. And now here they are in the wilderness. Because, hear this point, folks, you don't get from slavery to the promised land in one jump. Is God able to do it? Well, I believe he is. But what he's got to do is what's next. He's got to get Egypt out of you. They experienced challenges, but also saw God's miraculous power, right? We just mentioned just 4 of them. So it wasn't like they came out of Egypt and they were just suffering all the way through and God just gave them a word with no signs and wonders. They had the signs and wonders. If we be honest, have we had the signs and wonders? Okay. So then, this is the knowledge part which I just said. They are out of Egypt, but Egypt is not out of them. Heard the American saying, you can take the young man out the ghetto, but can you take the ghetto out the young man? Yeah? Many people did not enter the promise. I want you to understand this. This is not a case of just these people suffering, the 12 spies. This is a whole nation. Suffering because they did not enter the promised land because of these 10 spies' perceptions. How they saw themselves, the circumstances and the opportunity that God had promised them, they talked the people out of it. I want you to see how powerful that is. This is not like the devil came in with all his legions of demons and what have you. This was leaders of their tribes, 10 of them saying, let's not bother. It's not the devil. The devil does not feature in this story. This is 10 spies, 10 leaders of the tribes that go out, see everything God says is possible, but decide to say, actually, no, there's obstacles there. Well, where in life do you expect obstacles not to be? Think about it. Where in life... I do coaching, and I talk to people all the time, and usually one of the problems is they don't know what to focus on. And I say to them, listen, whatever you focus on, expect obstacles. Jesus put it this way, in this world you shall have, but be of. Yes? There's nowhere you go unless you just lie in your bed, and even if you lie in your bed, there'll be obstacles. How do you see yourself? Question number 1. Ask the person next to you, how do you see yourself? How do you see yourself? Second question I want you to ask yourself and the person next to you is, what do you believe about yourself? Because how you see yourself, what you believe about yourself, you might project onto others and say that's what they believe. Yeah? Your perspective might be, oh, they don't like me. Maybe you don't like you. Pastor Dennis talked about last week, he used the scripture, love God, love your neighbor as who? Yourself. Well, what if you don't love yourself? Your love for other people is going to be a bit messed up, right? You can only love me and I can only love you to the degree that I love me. Yes? And many times we're seeking to blame the whole fox, the devil, and his demons. I got news for you. There's redundancies in hell. The last morning meeting in hell, the devil said, I'm going to have to let some of you go. The demon says, but what about the church, the Christians, the kingdom? We've got to smash it up. No, they're doing a great job of doing that themselves. They don't even believe what God says. They won't even move out on what God says. They keep blaming me, and I've not been anywhere near it. Perception. Perception. Could it be, not you, maybe just me, could it be that I think my wife's the problem, and really it's me? Because I did say to you before that until I started to take what the Bible calls the plank out of my own eye, I wasn't seeing clear enough to help my wife. I love that scripture. If you really want to help people, take the plank out of your own eye. Then you see clearer. All right, I'm on my own. Please pray for me. Altar call. Sunday, altar call, just me in the middle. Everybody else prays for me, yes? Okay? How do you see your circumstances? How do you see your circumstances? I don't know about you, but have you ever said this? I will grow, or I will prosper, or I will succeed at this thing when I get this. I'm on my own again. Tund, get the olive oil. Anybody ever said that? And then you get the thing and nothing changed? That's because God's trying to change you. It's not the thing you need. It's you that needs changing. How do you see your circumstances? Number 4 question, how do you see the opportunities that you are presented with? Are you like salesman number 1 or salesman number 2? People get opportunities and they see them as problems. However, just a side note, in the capitalist society that we live, wealth and riches follows problem solvers. On your job, you're on your job because you solve a problem. That's why you're on your job. And if you don't do that job properly, they have the process that they go through, HR process, and then they give you those lovely words, we've got to let you go. You probably should ask them where to. To another office? To a promotion? What have you. And then sometimes we blame the devil, right? It was the devil working in that person in my office. No, it wasn't. It was you. It was your perception. Your perception became a perspective, then you started operating, talking, and then operating in a manner that was unbecoming. How do you see the opportunities that you're presented with? Lastly, I want to ask you this. How many opportunities have we lost out on because of how we see ourselves, how we see our circumstances, and how we view the opportunities that we get given? When I learnt that problems came wrapped in opportunity, I went looking for problems. I go looking for problems. Because most people run away from problems. But problems are an opportunity to get into the promised land. These giants were there. They're a problem. They are an obstacle. They're a challenge. But if you don't face the giant, you're not going to get in the land. And I'll ask the question again. Where do you expect the giants to be? In a good land. In a fertile land. In a great place. Because Jesus said this, that the children of this generation are what? Wiser than the children of light. They go looking for problems. They go looking for problems so they can solve them, and then you can give all your money to them. Because then they come out, I hate adverts, by the way. They come out with the advert, do you feel this? I was in America, and I saw the medical adverts, and I couldn't believe it. Do you have this pain? Do you feel like this? Get this. Side effects include this. Wow. How you see opportunities that God has given you. How we see ourselves, circumstances and opportunities, has a major impact on what we say and what we do. These people said we were like grasshoppers, locusts. They had a grasshopper mentality, perception. We're like grasshoppers in our own sight first, then our perspective of them, bearing in mind the giants didn't say it. The giants didn't say they were grasshoppers. They said they were grasshoppers, and then they said, oh, the giants think that as well. Do you see how it works? Do you see how our perceptions can rob us from the promised land? Because we put our perceptions on other people and think they're thinking that, and they're not. They're just thinking about where to go to lunch. How we see ourselves as circumstances and opportunities has a major impact on what we say and what we do.
Thank you for listening to the message today. We hope it blessed you. And if it did, please like, comment and subscribe for more videos from Micah. And don't forget to click the notification bell to see when they're uploaded. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you in the next one.